The French Laundry, a name that has stood as the gold standard of fine dining for decades. It's the restaurant where food becomes art, where a single meal can cost more than your monthly rent. Anthony Bourdain once called it the best restaurant in the world, a dream destination for chefs and food lovers alike. But now, the unthinkable. Is the French Laundry losing its shine? Are the rave reviews of the past being drowned out by waves of disappointed diners traveling thousands of miles only to leave underwhelmed? Has this culinary temple become a prisoner of its own legacy? With bad reviews piling up across YouTube, TripAdvisor, and Yelp, you'll want to hear the truth about whether this icon is still worth its name, or if it's just an overpriced relic of a bygone era. In 1994, Thomas Keller transformed a small, historic building in Yountville, California, into what many called the best restaurant in the world. The French Laundry became a beacon of perfection. Every ingredient was seasonal, locally sourced, and treated with an obsessive attention to detail. Signature dishes like Oysters and Pearls, a silky tapioca custard topped with caviar, set the bar for what fine dining could be. Celebrity chefs, food critics, and diners alike flocked to experience Keller's artistry. Julia Child praised his ability to elevate simple ingredients, and Keller's influence rippled across the culinary world. It wasn't just a restaurant, it became a revolution in how Americans thought about fine dining. But as with all revolutions, the world eventually moved on. The French Laundry's reputation remained untouchable, but the question is, did the restaurant keep up with the times? Anthony Bourdain, a famous dining skeptic, famously called the French Laundry the best restaurant in the world. He spoke about it with a level of reverence rarely seen from him, describing it as a place where perfection wasn't just a goal, it became the baseline. And Bourdain wasn't alone. Chefs and diners alike lauded signature dishes like the iconic Oysters and Pearls. Then there's the butter-poached lobster, a dish that redefined how seafood could be treated in fine dining, delicate, perfectly cooked, and impossibly indulgent. But for many, the experience begins with the restaurant's famed salmon tartare cone. This amuse-bouche, a playful take on an ice cream cone, pairs silky salmon tartare with crème fraîche in a delicate sesame tuile. It's a dish that's as visually striking as it is flavorful, offering a glimpse of the precision and whimsy Keller became known for. However, here's where the cracks start to show. While these dishes are undeniably iconic, they haven't changed in decades. For some diners, they represent timeless perfection. For others, they symbolize a restaurant that's become stuck in the past, more focused on preserving its legacy than innovating for the future. That's the challenge of being a legend. When you've built your reputation on being the best, anything less than extraordinary feels like a letdown. And as more diners began to report underwhelming experiences, the cracks in the French Laundry's legacy began to show. Fine dining today isn't what it was in the 1990s. Around the world, chefs are blending cultures, experimenting with new techniques, and turning meals into immersive experiences. At these modern restaurants, diners aren't just paying for food, they're paying for stories, surprises, and the kind of creativity that keeps them guessing. The French Laundry, by contrast, remains rooted in tradition. While dishes like Oysters and Pearls and Keller's truffle-laden courses are undeniably elegant, they don't push boundaries the way modern diners expect. For some, that's comforting, a return to what fine dining used to be. For others, it feels stagnant, like dining in a time capsule. The challenge is clear. How does a restaurant that defined an era adapt to a world that's moved on. And then there's the price. A meal at the French Laundry costs over $350 per person, before wine pairings, tax, and tip. For 2 people, you're easily looking at a bill that exceeds $1,000. At that price, diners expect more than just good food. They expect magic. But here's the feedback many are giving. While the food is technically perfect, it rarely surprises. Dishes feel rehearsed, like watching a play you've seen before. One recent diner summed it up. For $1,000, I expected to be blown away. Instead, I got a meal that was beautiful but forgettable. It raises a tough question. Are you paying for the experience or just for the name on the reservation? Service was also once one of the French Laundry's greatest strengths. Diners described being treated like royalty, with every detail attended to with care. But in recent years, this is another area where criticism has crept in. Diners have reported feeling rushed, with courses arriving too quickly, or feeling like the staff was focused more on efficiency than hospitality. One guest noted that while the service was professional, it lacked warmth, that intangible quality that turns a good meal into a great experience. For a restaurant of this caliber, service isn't just part of the meal, it's part of the performance. And when that performance falters, the entire experience suffers. Indeed, these failings raise critical questions about motivation. Is protecting reputation for reputation's sake enough in the modern world? After all, the French Laundry is a masterclass in tradition. Its dishes are refined, its techniques flawless, and its reputation well-earned. But is that enough in a world that values innovation as much as history? Today's diners want more than just perfection. They want creativity, adventure, and a sense of connection. The French Laundry's adherence to its classics risks making it feel out of touch rather than embracing the future. Its legacy is safe, but its relevance, that's up for debate. Until next time, keep questioning the hype and your appetite.